my mother, came to the United States with $1 in her pocket, like literally $1 in her pocket. They cost some fees to be able to come to the US legally, right?
Right.
So when you do it correctly and fill out your immigration papers and everything else, it takes years, right? Years. You have to get medical screening, background check, criminal check for your parents and everybody else. And basically, you put in your time. And then they say, hey, here you go. Welcome to America. Here's your packet, right? And by the time you get there, you got to come in and you got to be able to make it happen for yourself. There's no like party waiting for you, right? I can only imagine now that I'm a father of 3, right? I can only imagine how tough it was for my mother to come in with 4 kids, my older sister, me, my little brother, and at the time, my 3-year-old sister, Jimena, right? My little brother, Julio, my older brother, Denise. A shout out to Denise, Julio, Jimena. She's a cop over there in Largo, Florida, so she's going through some rough times right now.
Shout out to Florida.
She's in Largo, Florida. She's a police officer in Largo Police Department, so shout out to her. She's kicking butt, taking names. But yeah, we got to the airport in Miami. We had to stay there for a few hours, I think, held up because they got to check your paperwork and immigration and everything else. So we missed the flight, that connection flight to Tampa, where we had somebody from the family meeting us and picking us up, right?
Okay.
So they put us on the next flight. It was 6 hours later to go to Tampa. But you got to understand, in '93, there was no cell phones. You know what I'm saying? There was no like, let me send you a quick email, right? It wasn't like that.
Those big Zach Morris phones, you know what I'm saying?
That's for rich people, not us. We didn't have that, right? So when we got, all we had to do is just get into the flight, fly to Tampa. And when we landed in Tampa, we were like, what do we do now? We got to find a payphone. But the person that was there to pick us up is already driving back to Largo, like an hour away. And you got to catch them there. If they're not home, you just wait, right? So I remember vivid in Tampa Bay, a 13-year-old looking at my mom, was sitting in the corner on the, when you pick up your bags, and she's trying to call and nobody's picking up. You're in a new country, don't speak the language, and you're there with your 4 kids, So now as a parent, I worry about my kid being outside in the dark. I can only imagine being able to, and know that you don't have any money in your pockets. That is what makes me put my mother in a pedestal, is a warrior. That's what kind of, if she can do it, I don't care. Anybody that gives you excuses, man, you can't get anywhere. That dollar is doesn't mean anything. You couldn't do anything with a dollar. You know what I'm saying? So you could just say she had no money. So at the end of the day, my stepfather picked up the phone call, and he was all excited because he thought, hey, my mom didn't get in the plane or something like that. And everything worked out from there. We got in, hit the ground running. I remember going to middle school, Largo Middle School. And there was no mixed Spanish language. No, man. It was like you go to English class, history, art, all in English. And I'm sitting there going like, what am I going to do? Just listening like
class of that.
Wah, wah, wah. And I'm like, so you guess what? You're either gonna fold or you just gonna fake it till you make it. I made some friends. I was making, what do I gotta do? And little by little, man, I started picking up the language. And I think that's what gave me the little edge over some of my counterparts. I become resilient, adjusted to be able to do that. Did well in high school. I wrestled a little bit in high school when I transitioned, and then all this time I was already training in jiu-jitsu when I was in Peru under Luis Fabian gym, which was in Lima, Peru. They had a lot of like catch wrestling, and it was a really involved gym. And I was bullied as a kid a lot. I was getting my butt kicked left and right. So my mother sent me to my uncle's gym all the time, and I was so timid that I would not join the class. I would just watch everybody roll, But after like 3-4 months of me watching them, I knew the moves left and right. I just needed to get in there. And as soon as I got in there, man, I realized that that most of us have the fear of the unknown inside of us. But once you become comfortable in the uncomfortable, you rise above. It just happens naturally. You don't even have to think about it, right? So after that, man, I went back to school, and next time I got bullied by that kid, man, I put it on him, choke him out. But but guess what? Now I'm really good friends with him. After that he realized he couldn't bully me anymore. I took him in, we became friends. And he reached out to me a few years ago. His name is Ricardo Pineda from Lima, Peru. So
does he still fight?
Good human being, solid guy, family man. So that just tells you, I don't forget, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and now I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. I fought in all over the world. I traveled from, Russia to Georgia, Peru, Japan. And I remember my little beginnings, my little fights in the park in San Isidro and Miraflores in Peru. And that's what I tell when I teach my kids jiu-jitsu class. I have some of the kids that just come in, they get frustrated and they cry. And I tell them, man, I was in your shoes. I used to cry all the time. It wasn't cry out of fear. It was crying out of anger because I didn't know how to deal with the frustration that somebody was bigger, stronger, bullying you. And most people read that as a weakness, because our little bodies can't figure out how to deal with it. We don't have the experiences. So you have two things you're going to do. You're going to run, or you're just going to bite your teeth and cry because it's a frustration.